Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we are focusing on something I think is pretty relevant for, well, for everyone who shops online. We're analyzing consumer transparency.
Hmm.
Specifically, we're looking at the credibility markers for an online fashion retailer called Jupenova.com.
Yeah, and our mission here is really to quickly assess what factors, both the good and the maybe not so good, signal trustworthiness in a modern e-commerce site.
It's like a rapid checklist for you, the listener.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you should probably just say upfront, this is purely an educational analysis of their marketing claims and what you can find online. It's not an endorsement or a condemnation of the business itself.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's unpack this, starting with the basics. What does Jupenova actually get right?
Well, they do tick a couple of very, very basic boxes.
Okay.
First, the domain stability.
Yeah.
The website was created in August 2024. Now, that's not ancient by any means.
No, but it's not brand new either. A lot of those fly-by-night sites are, created and gone in a week. This suggests some staying power.
Right. And the second thing is they do have some basic transparency. There's an email ID and a contact number listed.
So clear communication channels, at least on the surface.
Well, on the surface, yes. And what's fascinating here is that historically, these markers were really powerful indicators.
Mm-hmm.
But now they're just the baseline.
They're just the price of entry, really. It's
Yeah.
necessary, but it's not nearly enough to establish actual trust.
Exactly. They set the floor, but as you said, they don't build the house.
And that's where the facade starts to crumble pretty quickly, because if you have that basic operational setup, the next thing you'd expect is some kind of community.
Mm-hmm.
But here's where it gets really interesting. Their digital presence is a complete ghost town.
Right. We saw the icons, for Facebook, they mentioned an Instagram ID.
Yeah.
But the investigation found zero real active accounts.
Zero posts.
Zero posts, zero followers, nothing. And it just raises the question, why even put the icons there if a curious consumer is just going to click through and find, well, nothing?
It almost feels like they're counting on you not to click. And it suggests they're putting their efforts somewhere else, I guess. Namely, in manufacturing the actual identity of the company. Because when we looked for who is behind Jupenova,
Nothing. Zero details about the individuals or the team. And this is where we shift from standard red flags to something much more modern.
synthetic identity creation.
Exactly. We looked at their About section, the one place they should be building real-world trust, and the images they use for the team. They appear to be completely AI-generated.
So they're just substituting real people with, generic stock photos from an AI?
Essentially, yes. Disposable, generative content. And what truly sealed it was one of those founder images actually had a faint but discernible Google Gemini logo in it.
Wow. Okay. So that's not just a hunch. That's proof.
That's the smoking gun. It shows generic AI content was used right where they needed to establish human accountability.
And that lack of a real human identity, it leads us directly to the biggest red flag of all, right?
It does. For a consumer-facing fashion site, this is probably the most significant one. The total absence of external validation.
Meaning no customer reviews anywhere.
That's right. We specifically looked at common platforms, you mentioned Trustpilot earlier, and found nothing. Not a single review, good or bad.
And for a site that's been up since August 2024, that's highly unusual. I mean, even new legitimate stores, they usually get some feedback, even if it's negative.
Oh, absolutely. If we connect this to the bigger picture, genuine customer reviews are like the bedrock of e-commerce trust.
So their total absence raises some pretty serious questions.
It does. Questions about the volume of transactions or, frankly, the veracity of them. Are they actually shipping anything to anyone?
So what does this all mean when you put it together? The analysis seems pretty clear.
I think so. You have these slight positives, the domain registration, the contact details, but they are just completely outweighed.
Outweighed by the lack of a social media presence, the AI-generated founder imagery, and zero external customer reviews.
Right. You should treat those small positives as the bare minimum. But if you see synthetic identity and no external validation, you are likely looking at a house of cards.
A really valuable checklist emerges from this, then, for analyzing any new online store you might encounter.
Exactly. And that's the final thought for you, the listener. Which of these 5 factors, domain age, verifiable contact, and active social media, a real team identity, and external reviews, which of those do you value most when you're deciding whether to make that online purchase?
Something to keep in mind.